Welcome to A Woman's Strength, empowering stories from struggles to triumph. I'm Rosita, your host, fellow warrior, and advocate for resilience and empowerment. Through this podcast, we share authentic stories of women who have faced adversity and emerged as living testimonies of strength. Their stories will inspire you to break free from limitations, embrace your authenticity, and rise above the challenges life throws your way. Together, let's discover the strength within us and create a community of empowered women who support and uplift one another. Join me every second and fourth Friday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on Facebook as we uncover the keys to resilience, self-discovery, and integrating faith with personal growth. A woman's strength begins now. Hey everyone, welcome and thank you for joining A Woman's Strength, empowering stories from struggles to triumph. Now in this podcast, we have women join us to share their stories of how they overcome their struggles and thrive through that situation. This is important because as we share stories of how we overcame, it helps other women. So we're not just doing it just for our own benefit. It's for a collective, a community of us women who sometimes we can feel down. And then when we hear a story of triumph from another woman and she made it through, I know for me, it gives me hope to just keep going. My name is Rosita Perez. I am your host and a self-discovery coach. Today, my beautiful guest is Denise Drinkwalter. I always want to say Drinkwater. But
you are not alone. Everybody does that. It's all fine.
Denise is an empowerment coach for midlife women. And I think that is such an area that when you say midlife, is that like the baby boomer type generation?
Pretty much. It seems to be. Yeah.
Yes, it's so incredibly important for us as a community, right? Midlife women to understand who we are and then move from there. I mean, we got to find our purpose and stake a claim. Anyway, she helps women reclaim balance and embrace authenticity. Welcome, Denise. Thank you for being here.
It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I love talking with you, Rosita. We always have such a
talking
great time.
with you too. I always gain so many nuggets from you. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. We got to do that, or I have to start doing that. And yeah, so I'm glad that we get to have a chance to sit here and talk. We're going to be talking about what Denise offers near the end, but I want us to talk about a story because in our age bracket, most of us have experienced challenges and learned many lessons.
I think we get to learn every single day, and some days challenges are way bigger and they compile and build up, and sometimes it's like, I can't breathe.
Yes, absolutely. So let's start with, can you share one lesson that you experienced and then how self-doubt played a part in that? Because self-doubt's huge for our generation. And then what steps you took to overcome, and of course, the wisdom you gained. So we're going to break that down little by little. So can you think of a lesson, a really valuable lesson where you're like, I'm never going to forget this?
I believe there's so many big lessons, but I'm going to choose this one because I'll be able to explain the breadth and depth of it. But the lesson is this: there's only one person that we can control, and that is ourselves. Easy to say, but as women, and some of the people will be moms as well as women, so we tend to identify ourselves with the roles we have in life. And so we respond to the outside and we change who we are so that we can have success with the things that are happening outside of us. That's important to a degree, but where it falls apart is when we don't have a true sound, grounded awareness of our own value, right? When we begin to weaken our values or maybe not even step into understanding our own core values, then the external world, we flex and we become part of it, and it doesn't always feel right. And then we lose control, and we think we have to again go to the outside world to control everybody else so that we can maintain some form of consistency and calmness and awareness and just being okay. But when we're trying to control the outside world, we can't, because we can only control ourselves. And it's such a powerful lesson. And I still to this day get reminded of that lesson. Right? When I have different opportunities that present themselves to me, whether it be through my business, whether it be through my family, whether it be through my relationship with my husband, there are aspects that I need to step back and take a breath and go, honey, this is not yours. You do not own it. So I can take away what is not mine to worry about. And then I just step into being me again without the guilt, without the
Yeah.
extra burden and the worry about, I know I can tell you what you need to do.
Especially as a mom.
Totally as a mom. The mom piece is a really big component for me. It's a lot of the work that I do. And so when we start to really understand that in our midlife years, most times the children are adults or beginning adulting. And so they now have their lives and we get to have ours. Doesn't mean that our role as mom is gone. It is transitioning and has transitioned. Mm-hmm.
Right. We're just coaching at that point. But that is a tough transition. I know for me, it was overwhelmingly challenging.
It's big. It is. I think it's the hardest part of parenting. So
Yes.
if people are listening and they have young children and they think it's rough now, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but the reality is because we've poured so much of our time, energy, love, support into that relationship. And if it doesn't come back in the same way as our children are older and we're expecting that almost with just human nature, and it doesn't happen, it can be absolutely crushing.
Yes, absolutely. I can attest to that. So the lesson that you learned is you only have control of yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how did self-doubt play a part as you were getting a hold of that valuable lesson?
Well, it ate me up, because then I started to wonder what's wrong with me, because they're not listening. And so then I went into all that negative self-talk. I must be doing this wrong. I must have done it all wrong. Oh no, what do I need to? Oh my goodness. And I didn't very quickly. I was not a quick study. I didn't learn fast, right? It's meant to be. If you're not a quick study, that's okay. Life will continue to present itself to you so that you will eventually get the lessons. If you're open, they will come, right? So what happened was the doubt would overshadow. And then I got into my head. I didn't ever think I wasn't fit as a mother, but I just felt like I haven't done enough. I haven't done it right. This is what's happening. What part did I play in that? But once I got into understanding that they are adults, they're not in my control. It is not my job. It is not my responsibility. I am there to support, like you said, I'm there, I can coach, but that's if they ask. If they don't ask, it's not my job, in my opinion, to give it to them, because it doesn't land. They need to go through the lesson and the learning. I'm always there. I'm always available to have, what do you think of this? I even have conversations where my daughter will ask me, or my son will ask me, they'll say, I need your opinion. And I start giving the opinion, and I can hear on the other end, or if it's a video conference, I can see, nope, you're not listening. Nope, and I'm like, okay, they help me go back into, this is not about me. This is about them. They've asked for this. Maybe they really don't want it. So I'm able to separate myself And then I don't go through that self-doubt again. What have I done wrong? I've overstepped the bounds. I've done this, I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't make it about me anymore because it's
Oh,
not always
that
about me.
okay. So let's talk to the woman who is in that beginning process.
Mhm.
Now she knows, she's going to have to let go of her kid or kids. Let's talk to them about the steps to
Mhm.
overcome that, of understanding that we are one person and we can only control ourselves, and letting go control. Because for a mom, we've had control for at least 18. Well, I'm going to go back to 16 years at least,
Right.
right?
Sure. Sure. Yeah,
And then we have to learn to
absolutely.
let go early. Sometimes it seems like earlier than teenagehood because kids are really growing up fast nowadays. So let's give them a couple of steps to start this overcoming process and
Yeah.
focusing more on what we can control and letting it go peacefully.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that are coming to mind right off the beginning. Number one is to see how you can just do your best to come at conversations, to come at situations with a lens of observation, not to solve, not
Mhm.
to put your judgment in there, but just to observe. So observe through listening, observe through visual, and really tune in to what your children are actually talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
When you use that skill of active listening, which is a very complex skill, but when you tune into them and what's really going on for them and think about how it might be for them right now, you automatically start removing yourself from the equation.
So active listening, I have to write this down.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's definitely one step. If I could share another step, actually going back before doing the active listening, is be kind to yourself as a mom.
Totally.
Yeah,
hmm
because I told my daughter when she was 18 and she said, "Mama, I don't even know if I want to go to church anymore." And I said, "Honey, my job is to get you from here to giving you some seeds, taking you to church. At 18, you're pretty much making that decision on your own." I
hmm
don't know where that came from because I was a super overbearing mom. I don't know
Yeah.
where it came from, but what I know is in retrospect, I had to accept that it was time for me to start letting go.
hmm
That control was not working anymore because they truly have to become their own person. So I
hmm
my input is be kind to yourself and understand this is part of your role as your mom as a mom to transition
hmm
into coach.
The other piece that I think is important here, because I can see where you did a beautiful job just going, you make that decision and choice. Many times, what does happen is a value that has been um, from beginning of time, say a family value, and your child doesn't value it anymore, or feels that
Yeah.
they don't value it anymore. That's really hard sometimes, and it really can trigger moms and parents in general. Like, okay, they're what it, and again, all that self doubt and then all that pressure on yourself about how do I make this happen? Well, we can't. And just like you're saying, so being aware when you are triggered by something, a decision that your child is making, and I love what you're saying. Really be kind to yourself and understand this isn't about you. This is about them. Remove yourself out of that equation. It's not
Yes.
about you. It's not about you.
That can be really difficult. And I just want to say that it takes time. So don't be so hard
Mhm.
on yourself, right?
Yeah.
It takes time.
And there are times you're so thick into it, you don't even realize that you're in the middle of it. Right? And
Absolutely.
so, if you are noticing that you are being stressed out about decisions or conversations or whatever that is happening, and you're seeing a distance, get curious as to why are you stressing out about that. Now, if it's stuff that's happening where it's not safe, valid, 100% valid. Again, you won't be able to control anything, but what could you do to support so that they help see them things that they can't see right now? And it might not be you that's part of that process, depending on what's going on
Yeah.
for them. It might be a friend, it might be another person, and that's okay as long as everybody is capable of supporting so that they can see a bigger picture for themselves. But what happens is when we get into um, situations where we don't align with our children's decisions, we have to be okay with that because that's showing that they're taking ownership and responsibility. They're becoming an adult, and we need to
Mm.
celebrate that. Are they going to do it right? Heck no. Did we do it right? Heck no. Like, like you say, it's a process. It's a journey.
It is definitely a journey. Yeah. And here's the thing. While we have spent a lifetime making sure managing and controlling, their environment and who they're hanging out with, it's going to take a lot. For me, it took a lot to really
Mhm.
transition into that role. So I would suggest another step could be get into a hobby you've always wanted to do. If you like taking pictures, into photography, or creating beautiful floral arrangements, whatever it is, start to discover you,
Right.
so that then the energy is not completely on the child anymore, because at some point we have to let the birds fly out of the nest.
And when that happens, everybody wins because, like you suggest, your energy changes because you are starting to do something for yourself, by yourself, because of yourself that you love. And it makes you feel good inside because it's all about you. And that's not selfish. That is brilliant because when you are well, that radiates out. When you are not well, that radiates out. You know how when you walk in a room and there's something going down that isn't comfortable and nobody says anything, you can feel that. Energy is felt. So no matter what's going on inside your body, inside your heart, inside your mind, inside your soul, it's emanating out of you. So why not spend that time doing what Rosita is talking about? Finding something that brings your heart joy and live through that and see what happens in your interactions with your children when that starts happening. It changes your whole sphere of influence. Very powerful. Absolutely.
Is there another step that you want to add, or?
We could go on. We could go on and on and on, right? So I would say let's move into the wisdom and see what comes out there.
Okay. Okay. So I would like to start with the wisdom that I've gained as I went through this in retro. I know specifically for the baby boomers, we did not have the language. We did not learn how to be communicative about anything. I'm speaking for me, but as a whole, I'm learning that a lot of us in the boomer generation, we didn't have a voice. We didn't have a means to a language where we could talk about what we needed. And then we ended up just giving everything to everybody else. So it's such a huge, like, tremendous impact when we've given ourselves to our children or marriage, whatever the case is, and then they naturally go and grow up. I mean, it's tough. So the wisdom I gain is, like Denise said, take some time to learn who you are. Take some time to develop or nurture yourself with activities that you've always wanted to do. That's my 2 cents.
I love that. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's so important. It helps ground us. And we talked at the beginning around the identity and how we tend to lose our identity. And then it's like, and then I do find a lot of women are like, well, I need to have a purpose. I need to find out. And they're entering that idea with a stress. And I absolutely believe that when we come at life from a lens of joy, fun, calmness, everything can change and everything does change and it changes very rapidly. And that happens when we start to do what you're saying, live in the moment, be ourselves, learn who we are, we can start to realize what we've done over all these years and the positive things that have happened in our life. So I really love being able to look at all the positive things that have happened because we tend to automatically go to the negative. And when we put, wherever we put our energy in terms of our thought, it grows. So why not be kind to ourselves, like you said earlier, and put the positive thoughts into practice and place? And because there's all kinds of good stuff that has happened over the years with you, your child, your family unit, whatever. And when we focus on that and help move ourselves forward in those ways. The other thing that I think is so incredible, and I've been so blessed to be able to see it in our family unit. We have 3 adult children, and our son, who is the farthest away, a 5-hour flight, he's out in Vancouver. I'm in Canada, and we're in Ontario. And there were 2 years we didn't see him. Now, he is our son who is a big ball of stress, ADHD, has a capacity for depression, has had hospitalization way back when he was late high school, all that negative stuff that was going down for him at that time. And of course, you can imagine how 5-hour flight away at first that was like, let him go. But I'm like, I'm not going to be around and witness to support him to see how he's doing. In the end, it was a brilliant move because he learned so much, not only about himself. We were always available on a hot call. We were on the speed dial, always available. But through that process, when we did get to see him after 2 years, Rosita, he has matured incredibly, way beyond what I could have imagined, because he didn't have me right by his side saying, do this, try that, go, the control thing, right? I'm a lion. That's my parenting style. I make sure all the babies are looked after until it was like, nope, let go. I don't control. It's them. And things have happened. Has it been hard? Mm-hmm. Has he made it? Yeah. Has he shone? Absolutely. And my heart and our hearts are so happy for him and for his sisters. Everybody's doing great. But that's just a piece of my story that is so important that I want people to understand. If you're in that boat and it's a challenge and things are not going well, there is a silver lining, and there are ways we can help support you to get to the reality of what can actually happen for you when you start to take care of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So important. I'm glad that you shared that, because I also went through, my daughter moved all the way to Jersey, which is the other side of the United States.
Yeah.
And she has 2 sons, my grandsons, and I'm just like, oh my God, and she turned out fine. I was always the one that jumped in to save before anything could happen. And I remembered her telling me, Mama, you enabled me so much. You were always there. I couldn't even fall. But that was not good for her, because in the falling is when you're going to go through some stuff, but that's when you mature. That's when you gain that confidence within yourself. And I thought that was a little bit, honestly, as a mom, it could be a little bit of a slap, right? I enabled you. I'm just trying to be there for you and support you. But I also handicapped her from learning how to take care of herself on a deeper level. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I think that's super important, because as moms, we want to catch them before they fall, just like when they were 2 and 3 years old, and catch them. But they have to, once they fall from doing something they weren't supposed to do, they won't do it again.
But the beautiful thing, though, that I see what you're talking about, Rosita, is that your relationship and your communication sounds very similar to ours, where it is open enough that we are able to have these conversations. And I don't know about you, but I don't sit in guilt. I use guilt for one purpose, and that's for learning. What do I not want to repeat again? Because I have learned my lesson through that process. We all are learning lessons, but it breaks my heart when I hear of people who feel guilty for 10, 20, 30, like years. And we can drop the guilt when we shift everything. And the shifting is around, what did I learn through that process? I'm not here to put, because when you sit in that guilt of enabling, if you sit in that guilt, it's going to affect your relationship today. It has to, because it's in your energy. So you think it doesn't, but it's still there. So release that guilt.
Yes. I am going to have to confess, Denise, I am one of those moms that carried the guilt for decades. And it was really difficult for me to let go. And because I come from a background of I'm the mom, you listen to what I say. So learning how to shift that was a difficult process for me, to the point where my daughter had to put her boundaries down and say, I just can't talk to you right now. And that killed me. But it also opened my eyes to see, wait a minute, she's a full-grown woman with 2 kids. And I am not respecting her as an adult, as a mom, so it gave me time to reflect and make a change so that we can have a better, deeper relationship, and lots of prayer. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love what you're saying, because you helped her be able to do what she could do to say, I need a break. And that was the message that you needed at that time in order for you to go, wait a minute. And you did a lot of work to see it in another way. And that's what gets to happen. But when we put those walls up, you know what happens? It doesn't work.
Yeah, right? You could lose that relationship. And
absolutely.
That's one of the most important relationships that you can have. My goodness, Denise, it's always such a pleasure to hear your wisdom. We could go on for hours.
We could. We're not going to.
Right. At this point, we've got to end the podcast.
Yeah.
So I thank you so much for spending time with me on this podcast, sharing your valuable experience and wisdom. And so how can people get in contact with you? Because I think this is going to be really important. Do you have a discovery session? What do you offer to our women that are listening?
Sure. I have multiple entry points for people to access me. And the best way to do that is go to my website. It's my name, DeniseDrinkwalter.com. And in there, you will see I have 20-minute calls where you can have a midlife breakthrough session with me, where I can tell me what your biggest angst is right now, and we'll create a mini plan and help you move forward. And I also do one-on-one coaching. I also have group programs, and I've got online programs that are self-guided as well. So there's a myriad of opportunities for you to access information and support. And I love what you're doing, Rosita. I really appreciate our frank and vulnerable conversation today. Thank you for providing such a safe space to have this conversation. And I love what you do, self-discovery. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just want to leave us with this quote by Zane Baker, who is a transformational coach as well as the founder of Unstoppable Tribe. He says, we all make mistakes. It's how we correct them that will make a difference between success and failure. Beautiful. Ladies, we just want to let you know that you're not alone. Reach out to Denise or I. Listen to these podcasts. Surround yourself with people that can help you through the season of your life, because it is a season. Thank you so much. I want to encourage you guys to go to my website, movingforwardforlife.com. Remember that choosing the trajectory of your life is within your reach. You have a choice of how your life is going to go. So we shall see you next time. Thank you so much, Denise. I really appreciate you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.